Hi, everybody, and happy Friday. I hope everyone had a good week out there. Steve Thorne here with another Community Spotlight show. And as usual and fortunate, I am joined here in the studio with the man pushing the buttons, Triple M, marvelous Matt McNeil.
Hello, hello.
Matt, how are you
I'm
today?
doing good. How are you doing, Steve?
You look pretty happy.
I am happy. I try to be positive, as best as I
Oh, I
can,
know.
you
You
know?
try and succeed.
Oh, thank you. Not always, but I put a
Well,
smile on my face.
I would say in a way I would beg to differ because your projection of positivity is even there when you say not always. So you always seem positive,
Oh,
and
I
that's a
appreciate that.
key.
Thank you.
I know that there are some people out there. I mean, I think I'm included that I try to be positive all the time. Positive means moving forward and helping and doing and bringing joy to others.
Hmm.
And the more, and you know what? The happiness is a choice,
Yes.
and positivity and happiness go hand in hand.
Hmm.
And being more positive and happier, you're healthier.
Yes,
That's a
definitely.
proven fact that the happier you are, the healthier you are.
Yep.
And here's a way to tell that. You know, real happy people hardly ever get sick.
Hmm. That's true. I don't usually get sick that much.
But crabby people get sick often. Negative people.
Yep.
It's funny. I know someone that seems to. Uh, Someone said to me once, the difference between you and him. You find something good in everything, and he finds something bad in everything.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how that is. Sadly, the media has become negative. It
Hmm.
seems like that's what they prey on negative news because it seems to attract readership.
Yes.
And they blow out, when they don't have anything to write about, then they write about the weather, but they focus on whatever the worst scenario could be about the weather.
Right.
Rather than, hey, it could be a nice day,
Hmm.
it's like, there's a good chance it's gonna rain or it's gonna be overly windy. Be
Yep.
careful of branches.
If it's just a 1% chance of rain, it's 1%
Uh,
chance of rain.
Yeah, instead of 99% chance it'll be nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Matt, it's been a challenging week around here, as
Yes.
everybody knows, because we've been inundated with Facebook posts, phone calls, texts, emails, face-to-face consultations, comments, talks, memory shares, and we're speaking of our dear, dear friend George. So sadly, every week he was at the top of my get well list for so long.
Hmm.
He fought that battle with cancer and everything that came from it. His body just finally gave out, and we lost George this past Tuesday at the age of 69. He was an incredible man. He was a friend to all, and he had no enemies, only friends he hadn't met yet.
Yep.
He did so much for so many. We'll have a formal dedication soon, but I did want to dedicate this show to him and talk a little bit about George and some of the things. So many people have written so many things, but some of the things that George did for Elgin that people might not be aware of. He wrote countless books for people in Elgin, published books for people in Elgin, wrote about people in Elgin, and he was a journalist for the newspaper in Elgin for so many years and wrote a column and multiple inserts and stories in the paper for years and years. He was an incredible writer and journalist because of his emotional expression in his wording and not over the top verbiage that was a little bit too much for some readers. He had a way to convey his words to feelings
Hmm.
like no one else I'd ever heard. He was such an eloquent and excellent speaker as well. And I will never be able to thank him enough in all my years of memories for being my campaign manager, both elections. I don't know that I'd be on that podium on the dais if it weren't for George, his efforts, and hence the results. His speeches at events, and the fact that certain things that people might have forgotten, but that he was behind. The First Responders Fest, that was George. He's
Hmm.
the one that founded it. Mark brought it in because of George.
Hmm.
Uh, my opinion, do you know why we're here today? We're here today because Dean brought came to WRMN. And do you know how Dean came to WRMN? From George.
Hmm.
So I have a feeling that uh, you and I wouldn't be sitting here right now
Yeah.
if it weren't for George. And people wouldn't be hearing us. George was a such a positive person. I'm sure you've been over to the Elgin Edward Schock Center.
Hmm.
George is the one that got that renamed. It was
Really?
originally the Elgin City Center,
I
but
didn't know that.
George is the
Wow.
one that was behind all that and made it happen.
That's
And
something. Wow.
so he did that. He did so many things. It's just amazing. From that First Responders Fest to Spaghetti Palooza to Stevie Palooza. Uh, and of course, the Tribute to the Troops veteran radio program that we did together for 10 years on the air. And together, he and I received a mayor's award for that program.
Hmm.
And here's something that's very amazing, and that is his book written called Fox Valley Veterans.
Hmm.
He wrote that about 2002 or 3 or maybe 4, right in that range. And he actually received a Pulitzer Prize nomination for that book. He brought stories of local area veterans and was able to tell their stories. And now, sadly, almost all of those people highlighted in that book have passed. But many people, actually their families, said they learned things about their father or even a mother that they never knew. But George was able to uh, extract that in his interviewing process. And with their consent, of course, they all pre read his final draft before it was published and they okayed it. Every one of them praised George. And that book is phenomenal because he was still selling that book regularly every weekend at different little pop up stands throughout the suburbs. And that's where he still made his money besides Ubering. And he took care of his girlfriend, Chris, who Chris had succumbed to a debilitating disease. And um, everyone thought Chris was going to take care of George when he got worse with his condition. And instead, he was taking care of Chris. And George left us Tuesday, shortly after hospice was assigned. But tragically and sadly, Chris passed away yesterday. So now she's gone also. So it's a very sad day and a sad week for us here at WRMN and for the community. I'd like to read a little bit that I put down, and I wrote down. First of all, I did want everyone to know this right off the bat. I want to announce it a couple times, but with some programming changes here, and want to be consistent at WRMN with the news broadcast. The local news is very important. And so the local news broadcast will be consistent now on the air Monday through Friday from 10 to 11. What does that mean and why am I saying it? Because the Music Memory Show is at least on a hiatus until we find another spot for it. Um, I've had, I have numerous comments on that throughout the week from different people all the time that Love that show. After the show, every week, I get probably 6 or 7 texts of people that say things like, I knew most of the songs, or gosh, that's great music today. Thanks for those memories. And now you've got one of them said, I've got that song in my head now all day long. Uh,
Mhm.
so, music memories, we hope will be able to return at some point, somewhere, some time slot. I'll have to work with Dean on it, but I saw the text. I didn't see the text till this past Monday morning and realized that no music show, and I was half done putting it together
Mm.
for today, but no music today. But we'll have a short insert song as a tribute to George here in a moment. So, no music show today. Um, Feel free to chime in thoughts or comments on that. And if you're missing it, please call WRMN and let them know. Um, it's been a tough week for many of us here because you all know that our dear friend George left us this past week as he finally lost his battle with cancer. So many people have been sharing posts, stories, photos, memories, and more all about George and all about how they knew him, when they knew him, what they did with him, and what he did. I'm planning a celebration of life for George at the American Legion, tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, February 18th from 5 to 8. It'll be a spaghetti dinner night, just like he did for Spaghetti Palooza and Stevie Palooza and Steve Thorne's fundraisers and whatever else he could do over there. He loved the Legion and the people that came. And of course, this will be WRMN's family. The family of George. He all he had was a daughter, and he had his girlfriend, and now she's gone. His girlfriend only had a brother who lives in New Jersey, and he's on his way here. But of course, George had his dog, Little Louie. But right now, Little Louie is safe and at the neighbor's house in Palatine, where George lived. And we'll see. Where Louie will not be going to a shelter. Don't worry about that. So there's a couple options already there. The celebration of life at the American Legion is open to all who remember George and want to celebrate George's life. So we've got a month away, about 4.5 weeks away, a Wednesday night, February 18th, 5 to 8, is the date that is set for that. If there's a change, we'll be letting you know on WRMN. There'll be plenty of notices about the event forthcoming. Dean and I will be co-MCs for that event, and there'll be a donation box there for George's daughter. But the event will be covered by sponsors, and everyone I've talked to so far immediately wanted to pitch in and help be a sponsor. Mike Warren of Britain's Car Wash says no matter what, it will be covered. But he wants to be a sponsor. Mark Bialik wants to be a sponsor. Myself, Dean, WRMN, even the American Legion is going to be part sponsoring it. And Jeff Meyer, the attorney. So we've got a lot of people that are stepping in to help sponsor it and then help with George's daughter's expenses. Um, the next is I wanted to details for the event to celebrate George's life will soon follow, and Dean and I will co-MC, as I mentioned. Certain speakers will be planned. We'll put an itinerary together, a rolling video on the big screen that Dean and team here will be working on would be much neater than, for instance, a poster board, etc. And I'm planning a City of Elgin proclamation by the mayor to be read and presented at the city council meeting the week prior to the event. So that'll be at the council meeting Wednesday, February 11th at 7 p.m. All are welcome there as well. And the plan is for George's brother, Daryl, and his wife, Star, and George's daughter, Carlin, to be there to receive the proclamation and say a few words if they so wish. So many shared memories of George on Facebook. One of the things about George was his love of music, and his two favorite artists were Linda Ronstadt, who he always said he was in love with, and Three Dog Night, a fun band from 1969, still touring today. And ironically, they were scheduled to perform at the Arcada Theater in November, in this past November. But the show got canceled, and the show was canceled and rescheduled due to someone in the band being ill. Well, the show was scheduled for last night at the Arcada. And last night at the Arcada, of course, originally planned then was I bought tickets. I bought 3 tickets for Peach and I to take George to the Three Dog Night concert. And sadly, we went last night, but we went as a memory or a tribute to George. So it was a great show. It was sold out. It was packed. Our dear friend and neighbor, Kathy Newby, went, and she was honored to be in George's seat. And, you know, the show, we thought about George all the time. He would have been loving it, and seeing the original founder right there in the forefront, who's actually his son, is the bass player in the band. And I thought it would be fun to hear a snippet of George's favorite Three Dog Night song.
And the feeling that we both share, and the love that we call ours. We knew no time for sadness. That's a road we each had crossed. And we were living a time meant for us. And even when it would rain, we would laugh it off. I've got pieces of April, I keep them in a memory bouquet. I've got pieces of April, it's a morning in May. We stood on the crest of summer, beneath an oak of blossom green, feeling as I did in April, not really knowing what it means, but it must be them that stand beside me now to make me feel this way, just as I did in April, but it's a morning in I've got pieces of April, I keep them in a memory bouquet. I've got pieces of April, but it's a morning in May. I've got pieces of April, I keep them in a memory bouquet. I've got pieces of April, it's a morning in May. It's a morning, it's a morning in May.
Pieces of April. by Three Dog Night. Not a real popular song compared to some of their others, but certainly a very pretty one.
Mhm.
And they sang all their classics last night. And we know how much George would have loved being there. He loved that band so much. And it's a band that sang about joy so much, joy to the world, celebrate, etc.
Mhm.
They humorously talked quite a bit about to the audience and connected and said, all our songs are about positivity, and but we do have one negative song, and that song was Liar. And they played that one as well, and it sounded real good. I mean, some of their harmonies were, it's just amazing to see guys up there. I mean, they had to be in their 80s,
Mhm.
and but they did really well, and the guitar playing was great. The keyboardist, outstanding. The bass player, as I mentioned, was Danny Hutton's son, who's Danny was a co-founder of the band, and they were founded in 1969, and they actually opened on a tour for Led Zeppelin, if you can
Wow.
believe that. And it was humorous that he says, "You know what we learned from Led Zeppelin? How to party." No one expected that, but everybody laughed. Everybody laughed. Well, it was a very fun night, and a night that we made sure that we thought about George so much. I mentioned earlier that George was in love with Linda Ronstadt, and our dear George Rollinson, born October 11th, 1956, left us January 13, 2026, at the age of 69. And Linda Ronstadt has an issue, a disease, and she can't sing anymore, but she does occasionally do talk shows and talks about her life. And people always want to hear her singing. Well, I thought it'd be appropriate that we end our program today that we did as a tribute to George, and we talked about George, and we want to say goodbye to George, and we'll let Linda Ronstadt say goodbye to George with our last song here today, and I'll be back next week with the Community Spotlight Show and more details about George's celebration of life. In the meantime, please remember you can go on Facebook, you can go to the WRMN page, anywhere you want to learn more and share memories about our dear departed friend. Goodbye, my friend. George Rollinson is forever in our memories.
Oh, we never know where life will take us. I know it's just a ride on the wheel, and we never know when death will shake us, and we wonder how it will feel. So goodbye, my friend. I know I'll never see you again, but the time together through all the years will take away these tears. It's okay now. Goodbye, my friend.